Welcome there. Welcome, grade 6. Nice to see you again. Today we are going to talk about solar eclipse, the objectives that we're gonna cover it, recognize meaning of solar eclipse, compare between umbra and penumbra, and infer the safety precautions on the observing the solar eclipse and the reason to following these precautions. Let's get started. You know that the moon rotates around the earth, and the earth is rotating around the moon, and the orbit for the moon is thick oval shape, so it's not circle, so it's like the egg. So moon rotates around the earth, and the earth rotates around the sun, and sun it's the center for the solar system. It's clear. When the sun radiates its rays, at this time the moon on a straight line with the earth, so the moon will block the sun rays, as you can see here. So at this position, if you are live in this position, we can't completely see the sun because the moon block it all. So we can't see the sun. Because the moon is near to the earth, it can block it all because the moon size will seems like it equal the sun size because it's near to the earth. So as you can see, here is it will form two shadows. Number one, the umbra shadow, which is the solar eclipse that occurs in this position. It will be total solar eclipse. And the other shadow, which is called penumbra, and it's faint outer shadow. So let's find this with details. The shadow which is formed when a dark object get away of the light and blocks part of it. We have two shadows, as I said, umbra and penumbra. So when this occurs, it occurs when the moon, the sun, and earth on one straight line, and the moon between the sun and the earth. So it will block the sunlight, and this phenomena is called solar eclipse. So let's find the definition for this phenomenon. I can say it's an astronomical phenomenon which occurs when the earth and moon and the sun are nearly on one straight line with the moon in the middle. So here is the picture that shows that the sun, moon, and earth, they are on one straight line, and the moon blocks the sunlight, which is form two shadows, umbra and penumbra. Let's find this. You know that the solar eclipse, we can see it only in the morning because we can see the sun rays in morning only. So the earth and moon revolve in oval orbit. As I said, what is the duration for solar eclipse? It's just 7 minutes and 40 seconds. You can see it just for 7 minutes, and according to the position that you are on earth, you can see the type of shadows. You can see the type of solar eclipse, which means if you are in umbra shadow, if you are in this place, so you will see total solar eclipse, which means the moon completely covered the sun. We can't see the sun at all because the umbra is dark inner shadow, as you can see, and the moon in this position near to the earth. So it seems like it's equal for the sun, equal in size, but of course it's not true. But because it's near to the earth, it seems like it. So completely dark shadows will form in this position. If you are in this position, you will see total or partial. Yes, that's right. You will see total solar eclipse. So the moon will completely cover the sun. The other shadow, which is called penumbra, which is faint outer shadow. As you can see, it's faint outer shadow. So in this position, we can see partial solar eclipse. We can see the sun in complete disk. We can see part of it. So it also called semi-shadows or penumbra. It's faint outer shadow. And the solar eclipse that occurs in this position, which is partial solar eclipse, which is you. You will see part of the sun light, not all. So the sun will appear in a complete disk. Antumbra, as I mentioned before, I said that the moon revolves around the earth in oval orbit, which means it will take a higher orbit sometimes because it takes oval shape. So when the moon is farther between the earth, it will seem smaller to the earth. So the sun will seem larger than moon because the moon farther than to the earth, which means I can see just the sunlight as right ring only. So in this position, it's form antumbra. Antumbra, it's negative shadow, which means it's like this position. So here is umbra, here is penumbra, and this is antumbra. So I call it negative shadow. So I can see here the sun is a lighted ring. The umbra doesn't reach to the screen because it casts negative shadow, which is the antumbra. So the source of light comes from the sun. It will be as lighted ring. Let's find this. So we have three types of shadows: umbra, penumbra, and antumbra. Each type of these shadows form type of solar eclipse. The first one, which is umbra, form total solar eclipse. The other type, which is penumbra, it form partial solar eclipse. And the last one, which is antumbra, form annular solar eclipse. Let's find the shape for these types. Total solar eclipse, as you can see, and as I mentioned, I can't see the sun at all. So here, the moon completely covered the sun, completely, and it's formed shadow area called umbra, which is the dark inner shadow. This is the shape for partial solar eclipse. As I mentioned, it forms penumbra shadow, which is the faint outer shadow. So here the sun appears as incomplete disk. The annular solar eclipse, it's a type of solar eclipse also, but here the moon is in higher orbit from the earth because it rotates around the earth in oval orbit. So it will be higher sometimes. So it will form other shadow, which is antumbra, and the solar eclipse for this position will be annular solar eclipse. So the sun will appear like lighted ring. Can we look at the solar eclipse normally without any precautions? No. It's so essential to take all the precautions on observing the solar eclipse. We mustn't focus and looking direct to the sun at this time because the outer solar corona keeps on emitting harmful rays, which is the ultraviolet rays and the infrared rays, which is cause damage to our eyes, and it causes blindness for just few seconds, and it can damage our eyes. So doctors advise us to use special glasses to observe this solar eclipse and enjoy observing this phenomena because the outer solar corona emits ultraviolet rays and infrared rays. I hope you got this lesson. It's very simple. Thank you for watching. See you next time.